How do you feel as a Nigerian? How do you feel about the issues going on in Nigeria? I've been reading your comments. I've been seeing your argument. Thank you. Some agrees with Atiku, some agrees with Bola Ahmed Tinubu. But that is the beauty of conversation. Conversation is sweeter when you have broader views. I have read about the anger. I have seen the disappointment in some persons. But we must continue the discourse and make it more intense as we go. Here, let me take you into what I call a background to the argument. And when I'm talking about a background, I'm looking at the court processes that led to the release of the document. In doing that, I would also take you into some parts of the deposition. I hope you remember that President Bola Tinubu objected to the release of his Chicago State University records to the candidates of the People's Democratic Party in the 2023 election. I'm talking about Atiku Abubakar. Tinubu gave some grounds for his objections. He pleaded that if the court decides to grant Atiku's application, it should be limited to only the diploma certificate he submitted to the Independent National Electoral Commission. I remember what he submitted was in aid to his qualification for the 2023 presidential election. In his argument in court, Tinubu makes the point that fishing expeditions into other documents and more documents production must be precluded. Though the court was ready to give Atiku access, Tinubu pleaded that if Atiku must have access to his academic records, he should only have access to the diploma certificate he submitted to INEC. Why? Why? In the days to come, some senior advocates will come into the studio to explain why. Senior advocates supporting Tinubu and those against him. They will be in the studio to break down the issues for broader understanding. But for me, one advantage of this discourse is that the minds of Nigerians are being prepared for what the future holds. But Atiku's application was for open and full disclosure of Tinubu's credentials by the Chicago State University. So in this broadcast, I can call that university CSU. C for Chicago, S State, and U for University. Tinubu also said in his plea in the American court that Atiku's application should be denied because the information he sought cannot be used and therefore is not for use in the foreign proceedings. Tinubu believes that whatever document Atiku was going to get cannot be used in the Supreme Court. You get the point? He makes that argument. So on this edition, I'm taking my time to look at Tinubu's argument in court before the documents were released to Atiku Abubakar. I'm happy you are joining this broadcast, and you have the opportunity to also call in. I want to hear your voice. I want to begin to hear your voice, to know what you think. This is a dialogue, that discourse on nation building. So I'll be happy to hear your voice, to call in. We'll be opening the lines soon. If you're listening to me in the United States, if you are in the United Kingdom, France, are you in Cameroon, anywhere in Africa, you can call in on WhatsApp. The numbers will be flashed on the screen soon, but I can also read them out to you. Okay? And we can also post it on this stream. So get ready to call. I want to hear from you. You are a Nigerian, wherever you are, get ready to call. So Ayo, let's look at what Atiku Abubakar's lawyer, Kalu said in a press conference last week in Abuja. It has to do with what the Supreme Court would do. So let's listen to Kalu.
Certificates issued or released by Chicago State University to the lawyers of Alhaji Atiku Abubakar. These are the documents. One, that Bola Ahmed Tinubu forged the certificate he presented to INEC. That's one. Two, that the qualifying certificate from Southwest College to Chicago State University bears a female, indicating that that document does not belong to Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Three, the Chicago State University admission application form has a claim that Bola Ahmed Tinubu attended Government College, Lagos, and graduated in 1970, when indeed the school was established in 1974. The same document has it that the owner of that document is a black American, and the document Bola Ahmed Tinubu submitted to INEC, he denied having dual citizenship, which means it does not belong to him. Then, the same document, oral deposition, says that the Bola A. Tinubu is Ahmed, but the NYSC certificate Bola Ahmed Tinubu submitted to INEC has Adekunle. I don't know where the Adekunle and the Ahmed emerged from. So, on the second arm of your question, of what use will it be in the Supreme Court, it is very, very clear that from decided authorities, the Supreme Court has held that they can accept a party to adduce fresh evidence as long as certain conditions are met. And from what transpired in the proceedings in U.S. courts, that condition has already been met. So, as we speak, our law is very clear that a party at fault cannot be allowed to enjoy the fruit of his illegality. That is our answer to your question. Thank you.
State Affairs with Edmond Nubilo is live.
That is Kalu Kalu there, one of Atiku's lawyers at a World Press Conference in Abuja. Having made that point that the Supreme Court can admit new evidence, what would Tinubu be thinking at this point? Tinubu wanted the court not to grant Atiku's request, but he did not succeed. But let's look at the argument he made. That's the basis of this discourse. And we'll be flashing the phone numbers on the screen. So get ready to call in. We want to hear from you. Tinubu also said in his plea that Atiku's application should be denied because the information sought cannot be used. Why? Tinubu, through his lawyer, Christopher Carmichael, made the plea before Judge Nancy Maldonado, a senior judge of the United States District Court for the Northern District of Illinois, Eastern Division. Tinubu's plea came after Judge Jeffrey Gilbert of a magistrate court in Chicago had issued a 48-hour ultimatum to Chicago State University to release Tinubu's academic records to Atiku to enable him prove allegations of forgery and perjury he leveled against Tinubu at the presidential election petition court. These are very interesting times in Nigeria. And it shows one thing, that democracy is about engagement. Will Tinubu survive this? So in the days to come, we are going to bring senior advocates of Nigeria, especially on the side of Tinubu, to explain what they think about the deposition. But don't forget, the case is already in the Supreme Court. I know they will also be careful about what they say. Atiku's argument is that Tinubu should not have contested in the presidential election because he presented false and forged documents to INEC. Atiku had pointed out that there was variation in the dates in Tinubu's diploma certificate, adding that other documents relating to Tinubu's record in the institution showed that the president is a female. That's interesting. That is interesting. Having been convinced by the merit of Atiku's argument and having dismissed Tinubu's plea of protection and privacy, Gilbert ordered that Tinubu's record be released to Atiku Abubakar. So Atiku has the records, and the deposition is in the public domain. Have you read them? I have read them. I have taken time to read, reread, and I have now sat down with my lawyer friends and they've interpreted them to me. So let's begin to unravel those documents. But I will not do that fully in this edition. I want to bring in guests so that we are breaking down the document for us to understand. State affairs is a class of politics and power. It's a class of learning and unlearning. I'm happy you're here. I can see Olutayo Ajiboye watching. Amadi Lawson, thank you for always being there. As we also watch this program, we can also ask our friends to join by sharing. I can see Uwoyoku Samson. Hey, Samson, good to see you. Amadi Lawson says, good day, Edmund. I'm happy to be in class. Thank you. Akunye Umoba was asking, can I share? Akunye, are you asking? Please do. Let's share. I can see Olutayo Ajiboye saying, I am in class looking forward to an interesting conversation. Yes, that conversation will be with you. So, Ayo, can you put the number on the screen so that you can call on WhatsApp if you are outside the country? You can call on WhatsApp, and if you are in Nigeria, you can call. So the number will soon be on the screen. Can you see it now? So the numbers are there. You can see +234 7012 941837. So the numbers are there. So you can call in now. So we are leaving the numbers there. And remember, you can also buy books through those numbers. If you're interested in books, you can buy books through those numbers. So I'll be expecting your calls. Let me know what you think about what is going on in Nigeria at the moment. Are you a lover of Bola Ahmed Tinubu? Let me know what you think. Is Tinubu being treated unfairly? Are Nigerians bullying their president? Because I've seen that argument that you have a mob that wants to bring down Ashiwaju. Are Nigerians bullying President Bola Tinubu? Or is Bola Tinubu emotionally bullying Nigerians? I want to know how you feel. You know, Tinubu's argument in court was that the discovery that Atiku wanted was unduly intrusive to private and confidential educational records, which by the United States law could not be released without Tinubu's consent. So one question that arises from this argument is that, can a president of a country be a private citizen? That is one question. Can the president of a country be a private citizen? Don't Nigerians deserve the right to know more about their president? You can also type and tell me what you think. As you watch, you can leave your comments. And for those who are interested in calling, I'll be happy to hear your voice. Tinubu claims that a public disclosure of his CSU document would cause severe and irreparable damage to him. Is this what we are about to see? Will this disclosure cause irreparable damage to Bola Tinubu? What do you think? Tinubu claims that a public disclosure of his educational records would cause severe and irreparable damage to him. Is this already causing irreparable damage to the image of Nigeria? Questions are rising. Let's look at page 22 of the document that was deposed. I just want to raise some points, but I will not answer the questions. I will allow legal experts to answer the question. But let me raise the point here. This is a question and answer. So Article Council asked the registrar of the university, could any of these diplomas be considered draft or exemplars? The registrar answers, I'm not sure what the word exemplar means, but none of these would be drafts. In this case, the registrar is being shown some exhibits, some documents before her, or before him, rather. And the council asks again, how do you know that? The registrar answers, because these are original diplomas we had on our file. The council comes in, and how can you be sure that they are originals? The registrar answers, they are in our possession and have never left our possession. The council comes in, and why does your university maintain copies of those diplomas and not others? The registrar answers, as I mentioned before, we believe the students did not pick them up. Because the point here is that there is a diploma in Tinubu's file. There's a diploma certificate in Tinubu's file that was not picked up. So how did it get there? So as you read the document, you begin to see two dates. I'll get to that point. If you turn to page 27 of the document, and you went through every diploma in your possession, given the importance of this matter, the council asked the registrar. And he says yes. The council says, and so CSU is Chicago State University. And so CSU, after going through every diploma, was unable to find an authentic copy of any diploma that CSU issued to Tinubu in 1979. Is that correct? The registrar answers, we did not find any diploma issued by CSU in 1979 to Mr. Tinubu. Are you following this dialogue between the council and the registrar? Have you read that document? You should read it. Learn to read. You know, I've noticed that we have documents, but we don't read them. You know, on Saturday on Splash FM, I brought two legal practitioners to the studio. But I didn't want to begin to analyze the document, because at that point, I have read the document, but I needed some interpretations for clearer understanding. I needed my lawyer friends to sit me down and educate me. So I avoided referring to the document on Saturday. But from this edition, we'll be looking at that document. It's a case study. So I'm reading from the document now, some parts of the document. And I'll be happy to hear your voice. You can call in. You can call in. The numbers are on the screen. You can call on WhatsApp. Let me know what you think. And you can share this broadcast. You don't need any permission to share. Now look at this point. Articles Council asked, and so CSU, after going through Okay, we have a caller. Hello.
Hello?
Good afternoon.
Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, I can hear you clearly. Make your point. You don't need to be listening to me to make your point, because we are streaming, and if you are calling from the normal line, there will be this there's this delay. So once you call, you don't need to listen to me. You turn off what you are listening to, and you make your point. All right? Thank you for attempting to call, but I heard him clearly. So Atiku Council is interrogating the registrar of the university. Tinubu also had his counsel there, and the university also came with its own lawyer. And so CSU, after going through every diploma, was unable to find an authentic copy of any diploma that CSU issued to Tinubu in 1979. Is that correct? The registrar answers, we did not find any diploma issued by CSU in 1979 to Mr. Tinubu. I was wondering at this point, why did the registrar say that? So another question follows. But you retained copies of some diplomas, but not others. Is that correct? The registrar answers, when we have a copy of the diploma, it is because a student didn't pick it up. So if you've not read it, I'm reading part of it to you. That is the essence of this show. Atiku's lawyer asked, and you don't have a copy of Mr. Tinubu's June 22nd, 1979 diploma or his June 27, 1979 diploma? Now, can you see something here? We are not talking about two diploma certificates. One that was purportedly issued on the 22nd of June 1979 and another issued on the 27th of June 1979. Were they issued really? Look at the question. The registrar says, we have the June 27, 1979 diploma. It is in our possession. So does that mean that Tinubu collected the June 22, 1979 diploma and misplaced it and requested for another one on June 27th, 1979? Legal experts will break this down. But the registrar says, we have the June 27th, 1979 diploma. It is in our possession. That means Tinubu did not collect it. Tinubu did not collect the 1979 diploma. Ayo, let's go to Bola Tinubu at Chatham House. Bola Tinubu at Chatham House. Tinubu was in Chatham House in December 2022 during electioneering. Let's listen to the answer he provided about his academic record when someone in the audience asked about it.
Thank you very much for the question. It's inquisitive. But at the time of birth, I was dated March 29, 1952, and the family record. I didn't think then, that day, I've determined to be or decided to be a president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Not even that I will go to politics. I have a very good exposure in life. My record is consistent. And the school and the university, they question. They now convinced that they wasted their money and their time. The record is there. The transcript is there. So in March 1952, I'm not claiming another father. I am Tinubu and Tinubu proper. If they want a DNA, they could as well require for one. One of them has been even accused of not being a Nigerian citizen. I didn't touch that area. Equally, it remains the same. Chicago State University, where I graduated, has attested to that. Now I can announce that I've received my original replacement degree certificate from them. The Deloitte trained me as an accounting firm. Mobile has attested to my record, a standing record. I got to the pinnacle of my career. And the private sector, who among them can brag about it?
State Affairs with Edmond Below is live.
Yes, that is President Bola Ahmed Tinubu in December 2022 at Chatham House. He said he has received the original of a replacement diploma. I would ask my lawyer friends when they begin to come in from Wednesday, how did that happen? Because here, Atiku's counsel asked the registrar of CSU, and you don't have a copy of Mr. Tinubu's June 22, 1979 diploma or his June 27, 1979 diploma, correct? The registrar answers, we have the June 27, 1979 diploma. It is in our possession. So which replacement did Tinubu get? And law is also beautiful, but I don't want to be a lawyer. I don't want to study law. I like reading the philosophy of law, but I don't think I want to study law. But it's a beautiful profession. You see lawyers arguing on both sides. You begin to ask, what is the law? But these are interesting times. I'll be happy to read your comment. I am streaming from State Affairs Studio in Ibadan. The essence is to take state affairs to the world. Wherever you are, you can reach us. We are still test streaming and we'll go full blast soon. The day you see State Affairs logo behind me, you know we have started full blast. By the time you see State Affairs logo behind, then you know that we'll be blasting all the way with you there. As we discuss Tinubu, I will recommend some books to you. You see this book I'm holding, Nigeria, A History of a Turbulent Century. You see this book? Nigeria, A History of a Turbulent Century. I recommend this book to you. It will help your understanding of Nigeria. But it is not the book of the day. The book of the day is Why Nations Fail. That is the book of the day. That is the book I will review on this program. But I'm recommending this to you. If you are interested in buying this, the numbers on the screen, those numbers you can call. You can chat Udara Books on those numbers. You can chat Udara Books on those numbers and request for this book. The author of the book is Richard Bourne. Nigeria, A History of a Turbulent Century. Known as the Giant of Africa, Nigeria's story is complex and often contradictory. I'm reading the description of the book, so you can see those complex issues. That is what we are discussing. So perhaps this author wrote this book, seeing the future. How, despite the ravages of colonialism, civil war, economic disappointment, and most recently the Boko Haram insurgency, has Nigeria managed to stay together for 100 years? The author will answer that question in the book. Why, despite an abundance of oil, mineral, and agricultural wealth, have so many of its people remained in poverty? The author is wondering. A rich land full of poor people. So he writes a book to tell you why. These are the key questions explored by Richard Bourne in this remarkable and wide-ranging account of Nigeria's history, from its creation in 1914 to the historic 2015 elections and beyond. Why was the 2015 election that brought Buhari historic? Because an opposition party defeated a ruling party, and the ruling party handed over smoothly. And that's what makes Jonathan a champion. Featuring a wealth of original research and interviews, this book is an essential insight into the shaping of Nigeria, where despite the seemingly dashed optimism that was raised at independence, there remains hope that the Nigerian project will succeed. Are you hopeful? So I have recommended this book to you, Nigeria, A New History of a Turbulent Century. You will find it on udarabooks.com. udarabooks.com. You'll find this book on that online store. But if you don't want to go on the store to buy, you can buy the book on the store's WhatsApp number, and the WhatsApp number are displayed on the screen. We are talking about Bola Ahmed Tinubu's educational records. Interesting time. With the way I'm feeling, I feel like going to the Supreme Court to cover the story. But if I do that, I will not be able to broadcast. So hopefully I'm linking up with some reporters who will be giving me details of events as they unfold. I'm linking up with my senior advocate friends on both sides to tell me what is going on. So, we now know that there was a June 22nd, 1979 diploma. They call certificate diploma. And we also know that there is a June 27, 1979 diploma. Chicago State University have in its possession the June 27, 1979 diploma. The question is, the original June 27, 1979 diploma is in your possession, right? The registrar answers, it is a reordered copy. The one that you have, it is in one of your exhibits. That means haven't issued a diploma certificate. Tinubu reordered for one in 1979. Reordered for another one on June 27, 1979. 5 days after the first one. Was the first one issued? We'll get to that point. I'm reading from the document. I just read from page 27. The registrar asked another question. And the reordered copy is a recreated copy? Interesting. Let's go to page 34. On Wednesday, I will be with a legal practitioner here to unravel this document. Another document. We are going deeper into the matter. As the Supreme Court sits, we will be sitting here, breaking it down, learning and unlearning. You see, the registrar makes the point that the only time they have copies of a diploma is that the student didn't come to collect it. That is when they will have copies. So Atiku's counsel asked, so do you keep documents that were reordered only if they are not picked up? Registrar says, correct. So does that mean that Tinubu did not pick up the diploma? So where did he get the one he submitted to INEC? Critical questions. So Atiku counsel asked the registrar, so why do you have the June 27 diploma in your files? The registrar answers, why the university does not know that for certain, my speculation would be that it was not picked up. Remember, you can call those numbers. I want to know what you think. Let me hear your voice. I want to learn from you too. If you've not read the document, I'm reading parts of the document to you. If you turn to page 36 of the deposition document, Atiku's lawyer says, I am handing you what has been marked as Exhibit 6. This purports to be a June 22nd, 1979 diploma issued by Mr. Bola Tinubu. All right, we have a caller.
Yes.
Hello.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yes, good afternoon.
I'm sure you can hear me, but though I can't hear you feedback. But I greet everybody. Good afternoon, and I want to appreciate you, sir, for always feeding us with quality information. Sincerely, Nigeria is confusing us, we young people. I've been following commentaries, I've been following reports, people's view about this event. At a time, I had to go and download all these documents, and I read it on my own. So after reading all of this, you will now start hearing different sides from both the APC people and the PDP people. When you hear from APC, they will be saying another thing from what you read. Meanwhile, the PDP people will be defending whatsoever is in the document. But the main point is, even with we reading this document on our own, how come some people still have this boldness to tell me that what I read is not true? That what the school is saying is not that they did not issue him certificate, but that, funny things. They said it categorically. I read it. As I was reading through, I was trying to, refresh my memory of what I read the other time. So be sure if what I read is the wrong thing, or what these guys are saying is the right thing. But at the end of the day, it's still spelled out. There is no ambiguity. There is no confusion in the document. Now, aside from that, yesterday midnight, I had to even go back to your last interview on Friday and listen to the senior advocate that you invited. And one of the comments he made is, why is it that there is so much mistakes on one particular man? And I begin to wonder. So somebody first said during the days of the senior advocate that was fighting this issue with him, Baba, he said he attended, there was even a time he said he attended a lawyer school. But now, when the document came from Chicago, they said he attended Government College Lagos. Openly, clearly to our eyes, you can all see it. That Government College Lagos does not even exist in 1970, where he said he got document. Government College Lagos came to exist in 1974. But still, some people will still come and defend that. So let me know, just continue to talk. Sir, please. Why is Nigeria like this? Why is it that there is no truth anywhere? Even what you see spelled out to you like this that you can read, Nigeria will still come and defend it to you that what you are reading, what you are seeing is a lie, it's not truth. So what are they trying to teach us, we young people? Are they teaching us that as long as you can defend a lie can become truth? May I fear for this country, because I can imagine, even if it is myself, I have a driver's license. Perhaps it's not expired and I misplace it. I'm just using as an example. And I went to a graphic designer person to help me print a driver's license. And I go before a federal road safety man when I'm driving on the highway and I'm defending it that this license is what you gave to me. Will that guy take it easy with me as a law enforcement man? That I'm using a fake license. That is what Nigeria is trying to defend for us. Please, sir, let me now ask as I round off, what exactly is the truth in this country? Because truth now is even difficult to believe. May God help us. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. I appreciate that call. That's the first caller. And that's a special call. So I'll take note of that call. We're going to cut it out and archive it. The first listener, the first viewer to call State First Studio. And that's special to us. Did he tell us his name? Go ahead, make your point.
Oh, okay. I would like to contribute to your program this morning. Like I said, my name is Joke Ashibiaru, and I'm calling from Atlanta, Georgia. In reference to this issue of certificate forgery that we're talking about, I think we still have a long way to go. And like you said, it depends on what side you're listening to. But like the other caller that called said, I have the old document in front of me, and fact is fact. There's no way about the truth. I don't care how long you run, away from the truth is going to catch up with you one day. So, like, on my WhatsApp group, I think I have my primary school schoolmates, and they did send me pictures of what we took, God knows, 30, 40 years ago in primary school. Detail from my secondary school mate. Can we please tell this man to show us one single picture of one of his classmates? Case closed. Thank you very much, Mr. Edmond.
Thank you. Thank you for calling. Interesting. I was listening to an American journalist that attended Chicago State University. So he is interested in this subject. So he granted an interview to a Nigerian radio station. In that interview, he said he went back to the archives of Chicago State University to look for the yearbook of 1979. The yearbook. Every year has a yearbook. He said he found every yearbook, but the only one missing was the 1979 yearbook from the archives. A lot is ongoing. And you see, this subject will unravel the politics of Nigeria. No, not minding the decision of the Nigerian Supreme Court. For now, everybody is saying Supreme Court, Supreme Court. But it will go beyond the Supreme Court if we don't manage it well. Okay, I have another caller here. Hello, Mr. Chukwuemeka.
Yes, please.
All right, you're here.
Yeah. Sorry, let me continue from where I stopped.
No, don't continue from where you stopped. Just start all over again. At that point, we were off.
All right. My name is Okoro Chukwuemeka, and I am calling from England, United Kingdom. You see, the way we Nigerians are going on this issue, be you Hausa, be you Yoruba, be you Igbo, because this thing is causing a lot of problems. Even at workplace, we debate it. People keep supporting. It is going to tell on us, we the citizens, because of one man's sin. If you are, and mostly if you are traveling with a Nigerian passport, with a connecting flight, you will pay for it. You will be interrogated, you will be questioned, you will be subjected to all kinds of insults. One, any Nigerian student any student applying for any program from Nigeria to the United Kingdom, Canada, Australia, and other developed nations or Commonwealth nations will be subjected to scrutiny. If we don't solve this problem, or this man is not allowed to go. 3, whether you like it or not, if the president goes to the Emiratis to tell them to come and invest in Nigeria, and they know that your president can sit down, have a forged primary school certificate, forged secondary school certificate with no pure identity, forged university degree certificates, how are you sure that if Emiratis invest $1.5 billion in Nigeria, that they're going to go back with their money? End of quote. They will not. No foreign investor will come to Nigeria because they believe that if the number one citizen, who is the image maker of the nation, is not pure, then who else is pure? Our religious leaders who sit down, that is why sometimes when I look at them, I become ashamed, because I know personally, I have attended a church in the United Kingdom, precisely IRIT, the church, the owner of Winners Chapel, the son is the senior pastor there, and which is almost as big as a stadium. They give offertory with POS or credit card. You can do your offertory. What are you telling the people? Empowering them. Our religious leaders cannot speak the truth when it all matters. We are having currently in Nigeria ethnic war, religious war, political factors, at the same time not trying to make the country work. I say it categorically without no apology that any person born in Nigeria till date is a potential fraudster. Because what do you learn? Between 1999 and 2003, I was in primary school between 1999 and 2015. I was in school between 1999 to 2015. All I learned from Nigeria is corruption. Corruption from the government, embezzlement and embezzlement. Then when it gets to our turn, when these people are in their late 80s, then you are telling somebody who you have thought, like Festus Keyamo, who is defending all this crime, when he's in his 70s, 80s, and now, like me that is getting to 40, power gets into our hand and we have learned from him. He should have it in mind that we will sell the country and the colonial masters will come back. Whether we like it or not, Tinubu should resign and save Nigeria from international embarrassment. Last week, a school in UK cancelled all the admissions coming from Nigeria. 12 from Liverpool, 12 nurses were deported from Nigeria because of fake driver's license. More to come. And the economy, before December, pounds is going to be 1,005 or 2,000. 1 pound is going to be 2,000 in Nigeria.
Thank
Take
you.
it or you leave it. I reserve.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, I'm enjoying the comments. I'm enjoying the comments. Call, I want to hear from you. I want to hear from you. It's about President Bola Tinubu's academic record. I have read parts of the documents to you, and I did that to serve as a tool for reflections. By the next edition, it's not just about the reading. It will be about the reading and interpretations. But by the way, the language is clear, the words are simple, so you can read and interpret yourself. That is the point. This is a test streaming from State Affairs Studio. And I'm happy you are here watching. The book of the day is Why Nations Fail. Is Nigeria failing? Look at this book, Why Nations Fail. Why Nations Fail. Is Nigeria failing? I'm going to review this book, and you will find this book on udarabooks.com. Why you should read this book if you are interested in the future. I'm always hopeful. I know things are not fine in Nigeria. Sometimes I'm scared for my children. What values? But as a father, I join hands with my wife to ensure we inculcate values that will make them help redeem Nigeria. And we can redeem this country. Nigerian leadership has failed. That is not in doubt. I will review this book. But before I review this book, let me give you an example of what happened. There was NSAS in Nigeria in 2020. What did NSAS produce? Nigeria has a way of not solving its problem. One would think that after NSAS, there will be reforms in Nigeria to advance the country's educational system, the country's police system. NSAS was to NSAS, but immediately after NSAS, nothing has changed about the police, really. Nothing has changed. So in Nigeria, things don't change. Someone was telling me, Edmund, you see in the next 2 weeks, this Tinubu saga will end and everybody will move on. And the political class even say that. Now don't worry, soon people will be tired of discussing this matter and we'll move on. And they are always right. Let me give you a case of Chile. In this article, I entitled it EndSARS, the Chilean Example. EndSARS protest was a movement for a new Nigeria. It used police brutish and nasty character as its message against state impunity. At the point I said, EndSARS was a call to cremate the deadly state anti-robbery squad. The protesters smashed it and will not allow its recreation in another name. Killings by state agents to end the movement gave rise to citizens on the road to redemption. Are they still on the road to redemption? Because the redemption has not come. Hello. Remember, you can still call. I'm here to take your calls. So once you call, I'll put you on. I talk about people who wanted to use EndSARS to redefine their country. At this point, my inquiry into EndSARS takes me into a similar movement in Chile. The Chilean movement gave birth to a new constitution. Before EndSARS, there was a movement in Chile in 2019. EndSARS was 2020. Let me tell you what the Chilean example brought to Chile. And I cannot see what EndSARS brought to Nigeria 3 years after. That I am taking a close look at Chile is to explain the unfolding effects of the EndSARS process. The effects are unfolding. Somehow Peter Obi is part or was part of the unfolding effect. The support he got was also an unfolding effect of EndSARS. But that effect has not been concretized. I would like to get your opinion because I know scholars are listening to me. I know some are listening to me from the United States. Some are listening to me from the UK. And these are Nigerian scholars. From your experiences, we can also learn. That is why I'm saying call. And you can leave your comments. I should be done with this broadcast in 15 minutes. That I am taking a close look at Chile is to explain EndSARS. In October 2020, an overwhelming majority voted in a referendum supporting the rewriting of Chile's constitution. Like the military handed down the 1999 Nigerian constitution, Chile's constitution emanated from the military dictatorship of General Augusto Pinochet. The constitutional reform process in Chile in 2020 was a fallout of the October 2019 mass protest when Chileans poured into the street to protest against a fare hike by 30 pesos on the Santiago Metro. For Nigeria, it was a fight against the police. For Chile, it was a fight against the hike of train fare. To struggling Chileans, this was one impunity too many. When students and other young persons began calling on people to stop paying fares, the hashtag Evasion Massiva, that is mass invasion, on social media became the driving force that culminated in a month-long mass action to end inequality in Chile. Though there's still inequality, but it's a process to end it. And that process began with constitutional reform, which is the most fundamental reforms. In Chile, the protesters blamed the military constitution for entrenching inequalities by privatizing health, education, housing, and pensions. Having tried to dismiss the protesters violently, right-wing President Sebastián Pinera agreed in November 2019 to hold a referendum to meet the demands of Chileans. Nigeria, it appears in Nigeria nothing can change. You can't hold a referendum. No, the constitution is sacrosanct. Nigeria is indivisible. Nobody can come. So the country continues to make the same mistake year in, year out. Before Tinubu was sworn in, I said he might be the most troubled president Nigeria will ever have. I use the word might. Time will tell. It's a country that does not solve its problem. It's a captured country. Nigeria has been captured by its political elite, and they run it in their interest. So any reform that would deny them the fruits of selfish interest, they will oppose it. Under such a system, the people must react. But Nigerians are clapping from both sides. Perhaps that is the way we react in Nigeria. The Chilean referendum proposed for April 2020 was moved to October 2020 due to the COVID-19 pandemic. The question for the vote were whether the people wanted a new constitution and what kind of body they would want to write it. More than 78% voted in favor of a new constitution. An overwhelming majority of 79% also voted in favor of the new constitution being drawn up by the body. To summarize my article, the young man that led the Chilean peaceful revolution in 2019 is now the president of Chile. That is what you say, that's what you call an effective movement. You lead a movement and you not take over government to implement those ideas that you fought for. But it seems the Nigerian political leadership is so entrenched. You see that Tinubu, Buhari, Obasanjo, the same person. When Jonathan came in, he was railroaded into it. But in Chile, the young persons who fought for the constitutional reform, after the reform of the constitution, there was an election, and they elected one of them to lead Chile. On another edition of the program, I will finish my article. Now, let's go to the book of the day. Let's review it. The book of the day is Why Nations Fail. a book written by Daron Acemoglu and James Robinson. Here's the book, Why Nations Fail. Go on udarabooks.com and you can get your copy. Interesting books on udarabooks.com. And you can buy the books on WhatsApp. So the numbers you're calling, those WhatsApp numbers, you can buy books through those numbers, the Udara Books WhatsApp number. Why Nations Fail by Daron Acemoglu and James Robinson is an intellectually stimulating and deeply insightful book that delves into the complex interplay between political institutions, economic systems, and the prosperity of failure of nations. This thought-provoking work is a masterful exploration of the critical factors that shape the destinies of nations and societies. In the book, the authors make the point that institutions matter. INEC is an institution. If you don't have a good INEC, you will have elections that produce poverty and conflict. If the police is not funded, if policemen are not well paid, if the processes are not clear, you will have insecurity. So in the book, the authors make the point that institutions matter. Their thesis, and it's a central thesis, is that institutions, both political and economic, are the linchpin of nations' success or failure. They distinguish between inclusive institutions that empower and engage citizens and extractive institutions that concentrate power and wealth in the hands of a few. In the book, you will find historical analysis. They gave case studies. They talked about economic and political elites, how they undermine countries and how they advance countries. Acemoglu and Robinson emphasize the pivotal role of elites in shaping a nation's institutions. They discuss how the behavior of elites, whether inclusive or extractive, profoundly affects a nation's trajectory. They talk about creative destruction in the book, and the concept of creative destruction is central to their work. They argue that inclusive institutions encourage innovation and economic growth by allowing new ideas and technologies to flourish. According to them, extractive institutions stifle progress by protecting the interest of the ruling elite. That is what is going on in Nigeria. The ruling elite is destroying institutions so that they can extract the state resources in their own interest. You can submit a forged certificate. The DSS and police will not be able to investigate it because they have destroyed the institutions. Educational institutions are being destroyed. So the schools in many states, primary and secondary schools, are in terrible states. Our universities are failing because we run extractive institutions in the interest of the political elite, not in the interest of the people. Why Nations Fail is a scholarly work. It also has practical implications for policymakers. If you are a lover of politics and nation building, I recommend the book to you. It is an outstanding work of scholarship that offers insights into the factors that determine a nation's success or failure. Here is our book of the day. Get it on udarabooks.com. There are other books on the table that you might be interested in reading. Have you read this work, Nigeria, Africa's Failed Asset? Classic. It will be a book of the day soon. Nigeria, Africa's Failed Asset. You'll find it on Udara Books. Have you read this? Understanding Modern Nigeria. Ethnicity, Democracy and Development. Toyin Falola, that professor of history that lectures in the United States. Thank you for always being there. I will be back on another streaming on Wednesday at 2 p.m. Yes, 2 p.m. tentatively. I will be back on Wednesday and we'll continue unraveling Tinubu's academic record. I am Edmond Opilo. Thank you for viewing. Thank you for listening.